Welcome back to Story After Midnight, where the darkness never sleeps. I'm your storyteller, guiding you through the world's most terrifying and mysterious true encounters. From haunted homes to ghostly sightings to strange and unexplained phenomena, I bring you the spine-chilling stories that will make you question what you thought you knew. In tonight's episode, we dive deep into the eerie and unsettling world of real-life ghost encounters. These are stories from those who have unknowingly brushed up against the supernatural and lived to tell the tale. So find a quiet spot, dim the lights, and make sure you're alone, because the shadows might be closer than you think. Who knows what's lurking, watching, and waiting to make its presence known? Now let's step into the unknown. The darkness awaits.
In Linden Hollow, autumn doesn't just bring falling leaves, it brings the harvest of guilt. Every year, they bury their secrets. But what happens when someone digs them up? You will find out if you dare. This is the story of the silent harvest. A cool wind swept through the rust-colored trees of Linden Hollow, carrying the scent of decaying leaves and wood smoke into the crisp autumn air. To the outside world, this small rural town appeared quaint, charmingly picturesque, with pumpkin-lined porches and baskets overflowing with ripe apples. But beneath the picturesque veneer lay something darker, a secret wound into the fabric of tradition itself. Every autumn, Linden Hollow celebrated an unusual festival called the Silent Harvest, marked by peculiar solemnity. Unlike typical harvest festivals filled with music and laughter, the Silent Harvest was a quiet, almost mournful affair. Families gathered silently, eyes cast downward, as they scattered small folded slips of paper across their fields at twilight. No one spoke of the ritual, and any attempt at conversation was gently but firmly rebuffed. Into the silent mystery arrived Elliot, an ambitious young writer from the city, searching for inspiration in Linden Hollow's or tradition. He booked a room at a modest guest house run by Miss Greedale, an elderly woman whose worn smile held something strangely restrained. Elliot found the town fascinating at first. The quiet intrigued him. The reserved nature of the townspeople challenged his investigator's spirit. However, as days passed, he sensed a palpable discomfort. He was hanging over Linden Hollow like an unspoken secret. It was curiosity that drew him into the fields one evening, observing silently from the shadows as families quietly dropped papers onto freshly plowed earth. The twilight settled thickly, and the air carried an eerie stillness. Once the townspeople departed, Elliot knelt in the darkening field, brushing away damp soil. He picked up a slip of paper left behind, its corners damp and curling. His breath caught. The paper contained a secret dark and terrible. "I kill her," it read, simply, in shaky, hurried handwriting. Panic surged in Elliot's chest. He unfolded another slip, then another. Each contained a confession of sins, of shame, of hidden acts buried deep. Some were trivial, others truly horrifying. A pattern emerged. The silent harvest wasn't merely symbolic. It was a harvest of secrets, planted each autumn like cursed seeds into the earth. A sudden chill prickled Elliot's skin. He turned abruptly. Standing at the field's edge was Miss Hill, her expression unreadable in moonlight. "Come with me," she whispered sharply. Back at Des' house, Miss Hill lit the small oil lamp. The flickering flame flew on, distorted shadows across the walls. "You shouldn't have, Mel," she said, her voice shrill. "Those secrets aren't for outsiders. They're for the silent harvester." Elliot asked, his heart pounding. Miss Hill hesitated, then exhaled slowly. "An ancient being, some generations old, to protect Linden Hollow from famine and ruin. It demands nourishment and blood, but guilt, remorse, the darkness within us. Each autumn we offer it our secrets, our silent guilt. It feeds, and in return, it leaves us in peace for another year." Its voice cracked with unease, and if his unfair eyes darkened. "That takes what it needs. Ripping open our lives, tearing through minds, exposing our secrets brutally. And Sionmar found refuge. The harvester hid. A monstrous thing, woven of shadows and whispers." He turned. At the far end of the street stood a towering figure, impossibly tall, rippling and shifting as if stitched together from pure darkness. Its eyes burned like coals, ancient, accusing, alive. The silent harvester had awakened. Papers, thousands of them spiraled in the air around it, fluttering confessions and guilt-drenched secrets. Elliot ran, heart pounding, lungs burning. The whispers followed, chasing him like wolves. "You are not innocent. You used them. You lied. You betrayed." The harvester fed on it all, his ambition, his pride, his guilt. He crashed through the door of Miss Hill's guest house, pounding and screaming until she unlocked it with shaking hands. Her terrified eyes met his. "Please, how do I stop it?" he begged. She stared at him, stricken, her voice hollow. "You expose our secrets, and most of all, your own." Behind him, the whispers crescendoed, no longer secrets, but accusations. Invisible walls ripped as force, striking neat shame into the open. His worst memories bloomed like open wounds. He fell up the stairs, barricading himself in his room, breath ragged. Shadows slithered beneath the door, seeping into cracks, pressing against the edges of his sanity. In a final, desperate act, Elliot grabbed torn scraps of paper and wrote confessions, regrets, every vile thought, every hint. He bled truth onto page, trembling, swing, and one by one, he hurled them out the window. Outside, the harvester paused. The secrets fluttered downward, weightless and dying. As they reached its shadowy form, the creature absorbed them, convulsing, rippling violently. Its darkness deepened to a shade beyond black, It stood silently for a long moment. Then, slowly, it turned and dissolved into a mist. The streets of Linden Hollow fell silent once more. My nonin, Elliot, was gone. In his room, the only thing left was a stack of handwritten pages titled The Silent Harvest, a story hailed by critics as haunting, devastating, and far too real. And beneath the manuscript, unnoticed, a single slip of paper. I broke the rules, and now someone else will. Outside, in the cold wind, the shadows stirred. Somewhere, the harvester was waiting, patient and always hungry for the next whisper to rise. No blood, no body, just scraps of paper strewn across the guest house, 4 pages filled with incoherent ramblings, twisted confessions, and fractured truths, scrawled in a hand trembling at the edge of madness. Miss Hill found them before anyone else did. Her expression was quiet, resigned. She said nothing. She gathered the papers, bundled them gently, and walked them out to the edge of the field. There, as tradition demanded, she buried them deep beneath the earth, sowing Elias' terrible fate alongside the town's collector's sins. Autumn returned. Linden Hollow continued its tradition, as it always had, quietly. No music, no laughter, just folded slips of paper scattered at twilight, seeds of guilt hidden among the roots. Because the people of Linden Hollow understood what outsiders never could. Some secrets were never meant to be spoken. Some guilt was better buried, and some hungers could never be fully sated. The silent harvest endured, feeding the fragile peace of the town with offerings of darkness. And yet, each autumn night, as the wind crept through the rust-colored trees, whispers still drifted across the field, soft, sorrowful, and unrelenting. A cheering reminder that beneath Linden Hollow's quaint beauty, beneath its pumpkins and porches and painted smiles, something waits, eternally hungry, endlessly listening, ever ready for the next secret to be sown, the next harvest of the unspoken.
Thank you for joining me tonight on this eerie journey into the unknown. If these stories have left you with a chill down your spine, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more spine-tingling tales. And remember, there's always more lurking just around the corner. If you've ever experienced something strange, something unexplainable, feel free to share your own story in the comments below. You never know who else might be listening or watching. Until next time, keep your lights low, your doors locked, and your curiosity never at ease. Because at Story, after midnight, the darkness never rests, and neither do we.